laptop. On the left-hand side, you can see a mic, and there's a small.
So, hi Daniel, how are you? I was saying hello to you, but you couldn't hear us.
Apologies for that. I was fumbling around with the audio. All is well, thank you. And yourself?
Very well, thank you. So everybody's looking very sharp. Hassan, you're looking very sharp in your white shirt.
Yeah, thanks.
And perhaps I'm the only one who looks very shiny.
We're looking forward to hearing your success story, inshallah. I'm not too far.
Still a long way to go for you. So I guess I have too many lights in my bedroom. So.
Okay, good. So are we on track with the agenda, Shehzad?
Yes, we are. I'm just checking the Facebook settings.
Can you, if you want to add us, we are connected on Facebook, right?
Yes,
Shehzad, I think we are.
Yes, yes.
So if you want me to post it on my page, I'm happy to do so. But I don't know how to, I don't have the link. So if there is something on Facebook that I can post, if you can tag me, then I can post it on my Facebook as well.
Sure. Once we go live,
and
then we
same
can.
Same thing on LinkedIn.
Yeah, once we go live, I will share.
And also on LinkedIn. Also on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is more important. I don't do much on Facebook, but LinkedIn I'm quite active. Okay, so we are live now. Shehzad, can you hear me?
Yeah, we are just going live on Facebook. We are live on Zoom now, and we are going live on Facebook as well.
You're already live on Facebook.
Okay. So is there a way, would you like me to post it on my page if you connect me or something, if you tag me?
Sure, sure. I will do that.
Participants started coming in as well.
On just 31. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay.
Daniel, are you there?
Yes.
Daniel, how do we pronounce your second name?
Moretti.
Okay,
Moretti.
okay, fine. Just wanted to make sure I get the name right.
Moretti. Exactly.
You got to do the Italian word.
Yeah, this substitutes basically every other word. If you know this, you're almost halfway to Italian.
Yeah, we are live on Facebook now.
Okay. And how about LinkedIn? Are you live on LinkedIn too, Shehzad?
Yeah, I'm just sharing on LinkedIn as well. Yeah, we are live on LinkedIn as well.
So how do I post it on my LinkedIn, Shehzad?
I have tagged you on LinkedIn on my profile. Yep.
I'm not getting a notification.
See now?
Nope, still.
So you are tagged.
Obviously, LinkedIn server. Oh yeah, there you go. I just saw it. Yep.
So should we start now? It's 7 p.m.
I think so. You have my presentation, right, Rizwan and Ayesha? So you'll be able to share it.
I think you can share your own presentation if screen sharing is enabled.
Yeah, all of us can share.
Because you're
If
a
you want,
panelist, yeah.
if you want, I can do it for you.
Any panelist can share. So should we start now? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So today our topic for webinar is executive health and wellness. So in the history of CFO Club, it's first time that we are going live with a webinar, the topic of which is not very common in our profession, wellness and health. CFO Club has organized a lot of webinars on corporate governance, internal audit, cyber security, supply chain. So हमारे जो पिछले जो webinars हैं उसे 6,000 से लेके 25,000 लोगों ने अटेंड किया है सोशल मीडिया पे, खास तौर पे जो one of the most जो viewed webinars हैं उसमें से एक हाउसिंग फाइनेंस वाला है, कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस है, इंटरनल ऑडिट है. सो CFO क्लब एक नेटवर्क है CFOs का, CXOs का, जिसमें फर्म के पार्टनर्स भी हैं, कुछ बिजनेस लीडर्स भी हैं. सो डे बाय डे वी आर ग्रोइंग अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह. हमने इसकी बुनियाद रखी थी 2018 में, बैक इन जून 2018. सो 2 साल से ऊपर हो चुके हैं हमें. इस पूरे साल में जब से कोविड आया है हम वेबिनार मोड पे जा चुके हैं. 9 जनवरी को इंशाल्लाह हमारा एक MOU सेरेमनी है, कैसफिट के साथ हम एक MOU कर रहे हैं फॉर इंडस्ट्री एकेडमिया पार्टनरशिप. आज का जो हमारा वेबिनार है उसमें होस्ट हैं मिस आयशा सेठी, who is CEO with Sethi Learning and Company पाकिस्तान. हमारे पैनलिस्ट हैं मिस्टर डेनियल मोरेटी, who is head coach and director with Lambda Strength. Our second panelist is Mr. Ahmar Azam, who is a fellow chartered accountant, CEO and founder of TriFIT Pakistan, honorary advisory board member of ICAEW, and honorary audit committee board member for International Cricket Council. Our next panelist is Dr. Rabia Saeed, who is consultant family medicine with Liaquat National Hospital. Our next panelist is Dr. Rizwan Khan, who is CEO of DRGA Global Associates. He is also a co-founder of CFO Club. And our last panelist is Mr. Hassan Khan, who is a teenager. He is only 15 years old, but he is an early starter of mixed regime in fitness. So ladies and gentlemen, our program for today is that from 7:05 to 8:15, we will have a very good panel discussion. After that, we will have a live Q&A from audience, and we will close by 8:30 sharp. Thank you very much. This is your host, Shehzad Dhedhi. I would like to welcome Miss Ayesha Sethi. Ayesha, over to you.
Thank you so much, Shehzad. Hello everyone. So as Shehzad mentioned that this is the first of its kind in terms of the webinar CFO Club has been doing, something on health and wellness. So basically our agenda for today is to talk about health and wellness from a holistic point of view. When we say holistic, so we mean in terms of your diet, your nutrition, your habits, your exercise routine, and overall, whatever you're doing to take care of yourself so that you don't only remain physically fit, but also mentally fit as well. So we would like to start a panel discussion, and I would like to invite Mr. Daniele Moretti, head coach and managing director at Lambda Swell, to share his perspective and his learnings on wellness. So over to you, Mr. Daniel.
Very much, Aisha. If I may share a little presentation that I prepared. Can everybody see my screen? Right. Can you all see my screen?
It says loading. It says loading.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now.
All right. So a little bit about what we do. In a nutshell, the genesis of the brand actually started about 10 years ago when I became severely underwhelmed by the quality of the offerings in the fitness space. And by that, I mean that it seemed to me like a lot of fitness professionals were offering cookie cutter solutions to very complex problems that, for the most part, need to be addressed on an individual basis. So in a nutshell, what we do is we help busy individuals, particularly folks that work in the C-suite, to integrate a habit-based approach to finding a solution to their problems in a way that allows them to make the progress they need to invest into the process, rather than shove a program in their face and then expect them to follow it on their own. But the theme of today's webinar has less to do with fitness and more to do with wellness. Like I just said, it's more about understanding the ways in which you can manipulate the variables in your life to elevate the quality of your life and therefore enable yourself to enjoy the things that make life beautiful with the people that you care most about. So I've got a couple of key points that I wanted to talk about in the presentation by starting off with a problem definition and talking a little bit about the role of chronic stress on life quality, talking about the ways in which we can redefine fitness, and giving a short overview about the very real physical benefits of being healthy, being strong, and taking care of one's health. Then we can talk a little bit about next steps to follow up. So I'm going to start with a quote from Dr. Robert Sapolsky, Stanford professor who specializes in the study of stress and the physiological results of stress. And what he says is, we live well enough to have the luxury to get ourselves sick with purely social, psychological stress. I actually don't think stress kills you outright very often, but it sure makes other things that kill you more effective at doing it. This is something that I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail as we segue into the next part. But there's a very real problem that we have, particularly in the C-suite. There have been studies conducted by Tufts and Stanford that demonstrate that far too many of us are living sedentary lifestyles on account of the fact that our schedules are just overloaded with work. Lifestyle constraints, work constraints, these are all things that are keeping us from investing in ourselves. And in a nutshell, what we're looking at is two main issues that we have: poor nutrition and chronic stress that feed amongst each other, which then start to bleed out into other areas of your life, causing things like mood dysregulations, osteoporosis, hypertension, brain lesions, tooth decay, issues with bone density. So all things that are going to eventually pile up and make it harder for us to live the life that we want down the road when we're in our 40s, 50s, and beyond. We're not just talking merely about looking good at the beach. We're also talking about things like muscle atrophy and chronic fatigue and brain fog and fat gain and depression, and very real issues that I think need to be addressed from the root rather than, well, here's your exercise program, follow it. Now, the thing that concerns me is that all these things feed into one another in a never-ending cycle. You've got stress in your life, whether it be poor nutrition or work-related stress or family-related stress, which then dysregulates your hormones, which then translates into physiological effects like increased hunger, the inability to lose fat, the increase of blood pressure, the increase of risk of cardiovascular disease such as diabetes, which then leads to physical damage, psychological damage, and then that translates into what? Things that are important to people that work in the C-suite, suboptimal performance at the workplace. So once again, I want to stress that it's not just about being healthy, it's about having a very powerful positive effect in all areas of your life. Now, let me move this. The thing also that I want to highlight here is the fact that the stress response that we often find, it's not just a physiological issue. It also alters our behavioral patterns. And that's something that we have to be very, very aware of. And here's an example. I'm one of those people that if I'm stressed out, I end up eating. It almost seems like the stress bypasses my ability to control myself in certain respects. And if I'm not careful about it and I don't have contingency plans, that's when I start to get off the track, even though I've been in shape for quite a long time. So it's really about understanding the ways in which our behavior is affected rather than trying to white knuckle yourself into a program that doesn't fit your personality or your lifestyle. So this is a common problem that I find. A lot of us have the great intentions to go and exercise until we lay down and that desire goes away, particularly at this time of the year when everybody's excited about New Year's resolutions. I want to lose the weight, I want to get in shape. And then the New Year's comes and everybody falls off the wagon. Here's why I think that is. This is the misconception that people have when it comes to being healthy or being in good shape. We think that we have to go to the gym and train like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And for the ladies, they think that they have to go and do something that is out of control, crazy. The simple truth is that you don't have to train like CrossFit athletes or elite bodybuilders to get into the shape you want to be. And once again, I want to redefine the paradigm of fitness to include things like wellness. It's not about looking like a supermodel. It's about having the energy to spend with your children when you're on holiday. It's about having that zest for life that people almost forget about as they approach their 30s, 40s, and beyond. It's about rediscovering that joie de vivre because your body feels good and you're able to go and do the things that you've always wanted to do. So for those of you that are concerned about training, I'll get back to this later on, but it doesn't have to look like, let's say, what Schwarzenegger does at the gym. There are a lot of different options and they have to be integrated into something that you can take home with you and actually execute over the medium to long term. Now, I'll close off by saying that there are a lot of great benefits to training, and it's not just about increasing your muscle tissue and increasing your metabolic rate. Those are all things that are pretty surface level for the most part. But if we're able to de-stress and get our stress under control, we start to we start to boost our mood, and we start to decrease the risk of cardiovascular disease. We also guard against things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. These are very strong weapons that we have to keep our brain sharp, not just tomorrow, but in the years to come. And these are sort of the 5 things that really make up the crux of a solid wellness plan: exercise, stress management, quality nutrition, intelligent exercise programs, support and accountability, which I think is something that a lot of people lack, and rest and recovery, which again is something that a lot of us tend to sort of deprioritize when it comes to audit season or the end of the quarter when you have to do all your reports. It's about finding a little bit of balance. To that end, unfortunately, we don't have the time to cover all of this information in a great detail, but I do have a little booklet here that I'm happy to share with anybody that would like it. And all you have to do is just shoot me a quick email and I'll be sure to send you a couple of freebies that dive a little bit deeper into these topics if you're interested. That brings me to the end of my presentation. Ayesha, I will leave the floor back to you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Really insightful. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Ahmar to share his views on wellness and the work that they've been doing at Lambda Strength. At the TriFitness to increase people's fitness and mental health levels. Over to you, Mr. Ahmar.
Thank you, Ayesha. Daniel, if you can stop sharing your screen, so then I can start sharing. Thank you. Can you see my screen? Please tell me if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
You can see it?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, lovely. Well, first of all, Daniel, what an amazing presentation. I was making notes, and I want to tell you that I was thinking that we should have you as our mouthpiece, you know, because for the last 6, 7 years that I've been part of this industry, well, going 8 almost, you know, I've been talking about the same thing that, you know, fitness and wellness is not about becoming, as you said, Arnold Schwarzenegger, but really it's just about living a healthy life, being physically active, not be disease prone, and to be honest, don't die early, you know, prematurely. So that's about it really. But with that in mind, I'd like to take a few minutes and basically share what we're doing in our organization in TriFIT, and really maybe briefly talk about that, but then really give you an insight of how we see the fitness industry in Pakistan in particular. So with that, I'd like to sort of just start initially by sort of narrating what our mission and vision is, something that inspires us and drives us to wake up every day and work hard all day. Mission to inspire and steer society towards an active lifestyle, encourage people to exercise regularly and make healthy choices. And our vision really is to provide a communal wellness experience through an accessible network of world-class fitness centers, initially in Pakistan and then worldwide. A lot of people ask me, Ahmar, what does TriFIT mean? Ayesha was saying TriFitness, so I get all sorts of variations, always a great conversation starter. Some people call it TriFIT. When we started a holding company, our lawyers would call I said, you know, it's a great opportunity for me to explain to you. So really it's TriFIT with a user or as a service provider. I hope I'm clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You were cutting slightly.
Give me a thumbs up. Because
you were cutting slightly, but it's okay, right?
I'm taking the call from our home office.
Sure. Please continue.
Internet connection sometimes a little bit unstable. So I was talking about tribe. You know, people. You know, everybody, humans earn to be part of a tribe, and that's one of our key drive, and that's we have the VHS videos, but people still continue to come to fitness centers and gyms because they wanted to be part of the tribe, and that tribe, you cannot really get the full experience at home. Results, you know, I always say that people join fitness gyms, fitness centers for many reasons, right? They can, because a wedding is coming up, I want to look sharp, I want to look good, I want to look smart, I want to join the gym, somebody's getting married, wants to join a fitness center, doctor looks at the results and say, you better go to a fitness center. The wife says, husband, you looking fat, and go to a fitness center. But the reason people can join for many reasons, right? But they only stay because either they're achieving results or they hope to achieve results. That's why it's so important for us to, one, have those milestones and help people celebrate those milestones. Innovation is critical. So as I said, I've been involved in this industry for a few years now. And the first time when I went to the first industry conference, and I came back, and my colleagues asked me, Emma, what do you think about the conference? And I said, I'm not sure whether I went to a fitness conference or a technology conference, because today fitness and technology have become so integrated. I'm sure, I mean, I'm wearing an Apple Watch. I've got a MyZone belt every time I exercise. All sorts of trackers on me when I'm doing my fitness, how well I'm sleeping. So technology is so much blended in our lifestyle, and that's the reason also in fitness industry as well. And of course, the FIT is the abbreviation for fitness. So, so the reason I spent some time talking about what TriFIT stands for, because it, as I said, people who want to be part of this fitness regime need to understand why people join fitness. What are the key drivers to understand? Well, as far as we are concerned, we are a new setup, although we've been around for a few years, but building with a goal of 50 fitness centers across Pakistan. We're also building fitness academies, because as we started studying the Pakistan market 2 years ago, we realized that we have a lot of fitness centers, but we don't have trained fitness staff. Even today, I interviewed a couple of people, very good staff, very good people, but unfortunately no certification. It's a bit like, Rizwan and myself and Shehzad are chartered accountants, and we have Dr. Rabia, who's a medical doctor. I mean, I would not trust the best, most experienced person who claims that the person is a medical quack if that person hasn't been to a medical school, right? So it's the same with fitness. So we have a lot of people in fitness industry, unfortunately, in Pakistan, but none of them are trained. So that's the reason we are investing very heavily in building academies. Inshallah, we believe that we will invest about $70 million over the next 8 years in the fitness industry, which is a huge amount of money. To a country. We believe it's a virgin market of more than 220 million people. The reason we are confident is because we've been part of this industry for a few years. I mean, we built one of the largest fitness chains in the world. We took it public. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. It's called Lijam Sports Company in Saudi Arabia, which again is not the first country you think of when you think of fitness, right? But we were able to get into a virgin country and introduce fitness and build a global brand coming out of it. Just some pictures as to how the TriFIT men and TriFIT ladies would look like. Again, segregated offering. We also have, we call it segmented offering. So we have TriFIT men, TriFIT ladies, TriFIT junior, and then TriFIT elite as well. Corona has, so in November of last year, I was asked to speak at a global conference on fitness in Dublin, and I was there and I delivered a couple of keynote speeches there. And I distinctly remember that after the speech, a couple of people from the audience asked me the question, Ahmar, what do you think about Peloton? And what do you think about virtual fitness? And in November of 2019, which is just exactly about a year or so ago, my answer was it's flavor of the month. And I said, these things are here. And I gave the example of Jane Fonda. Little I knew that COVID's going to hit, right? And I said, well, people would always come to fitness centers, and these things will come and go. And, and just like the treadmill in my house, I use it to hang my jacket. And that's probably true for a lot of people. And everybody laughed, and that was it. But as I said, little we knew about COVID, that it would change the face of the industry. In February, I wrote a white paper. And now, of course, everybody's talking about it. But February of 2020, I wrote a white paper on hybrid fitness, where I said that the world has changed, and I have literally changed my mind about everything. And now we know what Peloton is. The Peloton, in terms of customer satisfaction, we call it NPS, Net Promoter Score. It's one of the top 3 companies in the world today, right? With the lowest attrition. It's amazing, right? I could not have believed a year ago, but that's the truth, right? So where I still believe, and not just me, but all the industry experts believe that people are not going to just spend the rest of their life in their homes doing fitness, whether on a bike or a treadmill or elliptical or a home gym. They need to get out, and people have a need to be part of a tribe and get out of the gym. But I think with the COVID and the era that we're in, virtual fitness is going to be huge. So what we've done at TriFIT is that we have already built the first virtual fitness application for Pakistan with about 600 different classes and about 2,000 different workouts that we're going to make available as part of our corporate social responsibility across Pakistan, free of cost. And we haven't launched it yet. We will launch it in Q1, but inshallah, as we do, it will be available, to everybody. So we will bring fitness to every home, and it will be customized for Pakistan, with the diet, nutrition, different levels of fitness, whether you're a beginner, advanced, or intermediary. It would have all those features, and we're very excited about launching it. So it'll be part of our offering. I also want to spend a few minutes, maybe a couple of minutes talking about the current state of affairs when it comes to fitness in Pakistan. Well, I think we must accept the fact. I'll tell you where our office is in DHA. In less than half a kilometer, there are 3 fitness centers. Now, of course, in our definition, they don't really qualify as fitness centers, but they are some type of gyms that people have opened up, and they're charging anywhere from $70 to $100 per month for the services. And so there are a lot of fragmented operators in the business, and they've done a great job in creating an appetite. Just like in the 80s when Domino's and Pizza Hut hadn't entered Pakistan, we used to have a lot of mom and pop pizza shops in Pakistan, and we used to call it pizza, and people who had eaten at Pizza Hut and Domino's would call it cheese on naan bread, but that was it really. So fitness is a bit like that right now. It's like cheese on naan bread, and we call it pizza. So, but still, there are some good players as well, and we think that we will be able to create a big disruption in Pakistan to do this. There are a lot of GX studios, CrossFit, things are coming up. We'll be able to deal with this. I think that with technology, with YouTube, with Instagram, with all these social media tools, whether you are in Pakistan, Ethiopia, or London, at least you are watching and seeing the same type of content. So people's needs is certainly there. People understand. It's just that from the service offering, we don't have a real product to offer, and we believe that through our offering, we'll be able to create that option for our people. To be honest, we see our mission and values providing a great impact to both the economy and the people of Pakistan. I just want to talk a little bit about COVID because I've been in Pakistan now for 4 months. Moved back after 29 years, lock, stock, and barrel with my family, and it behooves me when I see these myths. The first wave was not that dangerous. This will go away, and I said, well, we've entered the era of pandemic. Let's face it. Whether it's COVID-19, COVID-20, COVID-21, I think we've screwed around with the environment a lot, and now this is it, right? Really, and the only way to be able to combat COVID and other pandemic. Unfortunately, because they're going to come is by improving our defense system, which is our immunity, and that comes only through physical fitness. Myth 2, Pakistanis have strong immunity. We are physically very strong because we live in a very harsh environment. Well, partly it's true, but as I did some research, I found that there are only 4% of people in Pakistan live beyond the age of 60. And that's a very low number when you compare it to other parts of the world, US, Europe, even India. We are less than 50% of India. We always like to compare ourselves to India. We are way behind India as well. Myth number 3, just like restaurants and barber shops and indoor gathering, gyms and fitness centers also spread COVID. That's not true, actually. And this is something that the world, I think the politicians and the government need to realize, and I just quoted some data here, that the Euroactive, which is the European official fitness body covering fitness centers, they tracked about 115 million gym visits in Europe. And according to their research, published research, for every 100,000 gym visits, the COVID ratio was about 1.12, which is less than 0.001%. And that's not deaths, that's about COVID contraction. So, I'm a numbers guy, so I like to use probability analogy. And I said that the probability of you contracting COVID from a gym environment is less than being hit by lightning twice in your left pupil back to back in broad daylight. So that's a pretty low probability. And you must accept it. A lot of people are running away from fitness centers. A lot of people are running away from going out in exercising in parks. Please, if you're not exercising, you're not building your immunity, if you're not living a healthy lifestyle, I've got relatives who've stayed indoors and they had blocked everything, but somehow, some way, somebody walked in the house and they had they brought the coronavirus, and they have, as a matter of fact, one of our aunts is dealing with it, and she says, I have no idea how the heck I contracted COVID, because I have sent away all the servants, nobody's at home, but somehow, somewhere came, pressed the doorbell, whatever, she picked up something and she picked up COVID. And my last slide is, is what we need to do, right? As to what is the next step. And I think for professionals, our bigger problem is not COVID really. And I think, as Daniel talked about, is a sedentary lifestyle, right? And we make excuses. Shehzad was, as we were going through a planning meeting, Shehzad, my good friend, he was saying that, most accountants are sitting and the only exercise they do is this, this exercise from the plate to the mouth using your right hand, and sometimes both hands are. But I like to say we have to find the biggest excuse, biggest disease, which is called I'm so busy, right? And let's face it, right? If we are busy, then we cannot even find time for our own health and wellness, then what the heck are we doing? I've lived that life, where I felt that, I just have got to work so hard. And yes, you have to work hard. Nobody's telling you not to work hard. But at the same time, if I'm not taking care of my health, then how am I going to be effective, right? So your health is truly your only wealth. Physical fitness leads to improved immunity. Oops. What did I do here? Okay, sorry. Yes. So I was saying that, so just a few pointers. Number one, we got to sleep on time. I don't care, whether you want to sleep at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, but please try to get at least 6 to 7 hours of sound sleep. I'm the biggest culprit of it. I try very hard to do it. I don't sleep much anyway, but whatever your body needs, my body probably needs about 6 hours of sound sleep. I try to get 6 hours of sound sleep, but sleeping is so important. And I've found that this thing is my biggest enemy. So I always try very hard to keep this away from my bedside. One thing that, a few years ago I started doing, and it's made a big difference in my life, is wake up early and dedicate my morning for my own spiritual and educational reading and training. I also go to the gym. I like to go to the gym at least 4 to 5 times a week, but I do it in the morning. I prefer to do it in the morning at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, depending on my schedule. But I like to get my exercise in the morning. Exercise at least 30 minutes per day. That's really awesome if you can do it. But if you can't, then you must at least walk 3 times a week for at least an hour. Please do that. That's so important. Morning walk is the best, but if you can't, then at least walk whenever you can, but for at least an hour or so. My 2 other advice, we all can write a book on good habits, but these are some of the key pointers that I like to live my life by. Eat a very healthy, even a very heavy breakfast. That's so important. Healthy breakfast is so important. I'm not going to go into details, but please try to avoid carbs, roti and rice, especially after sunset. It's poison, right? And if you have to eat roti or bread, then my roti is made up of barley and things like that. And my rice, my daughter makes a wonderful thing with with one of the vegetables. She makes it, which is not rice, but I would take rice once or twice a week, but not as much. But other times when I need to, I just do it through the vegetables. The 5th item is practice intermittent fasting. That's so important. Everybody's talking about these days. And for us, people who are practicing Muslims, I always tell them, guys, if you want to fast on Monday and Thursday. It's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I do that on Monday and Thursday. We get extra reward, and we're also physically fit. Again, this is only 5 things, but really it's not only 5 things, because it's a change of lifestyle. So my advice is that even if you have to start with 1 day a week, then grow up to 2 days a week, go with 3 days a week. And then every journey starts with the first step in the right direction. Don't procrastinate. Take the first step today. At the end, it's your life. You have to make an impact. And I wish everybody on this call and people who listen to this call later on as well, a very healthy, a very prosperous 2021. Make this year count for yourself. And with that, I'm done, Ayesha. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ahmar, for your brilliant presentation. I couldn't agree less with whatever Ahmar just said, especially in terms of the routines that you're making for yourself. हम लोग बहुत neglect कर देते हैं इस बात को कि किसी भी टाइम हम खा लें, किसी भी टाइम हम exercise कर लें, तो हम fit रहेंगे, but it doesn't work that way. क्योंकि हमारी बॉडी की स्पेसिफिक नीड्स हैं, एक हमारी बायोलॉजिकल क्लॉक होती है, और अगर हम उसको वायलेट करें और एक पैटर्न ना रखें, कंसिस्टेंसी ना रखें चीज़ों में, तो रिजल्ट्स लाने जो होते हैं वो मुश्किल हो जाते हैं. I think what Ahmar just said, I think this is something जो हम सब face करते हैं in terms of बहुत से लोग struggle करते हैं in terms of obesity, people struggle in terms of having a regular exercise routine. So in order to discuss more on all of this, I think I would like to invite Dr. Rabia. She's going to share her insights on wellness and what she has learned so far during her career. So over to you, Dr. Rabia.
Thank you, Ayesha. Let me share my presentation. Sorry, there's some.
Perhaps till Dr. Rabia is ready for that. Just a note for our participants that please leave your questions in the Q&A section or in the chat so we could answer them.
So can you all see the presentation? Can you all see the presentation?
Rabia, instead of sharing the screen, share the file actually. Just go to the new share and share again the file.
Okay.
Yeah, currently we are seeing the screen. So just reshare the file. Yeah, it's perfect now.
Okay.
Make it on presentation mode. Yeah, perfect.
So Assalamu alaikum. So thank you so much for giving this opportunity to share my views on such a important topic, which is actually important for all of us as we are entering into the new normal post-COVID era. So my objectives are, which I would like to cover in this brief presentation, is about talking about executive health and wellness from medical point of view, why executive health checkups are important, and what are the benefits of regular annual health checkups, what is the concept of preventive care and health screening. And most of us, as we are already aware of, that there are certain risk factors which we can modify in order to prevent various non-communicable disease like diabetes, hypertension. So we would be talking about how to control those modifiable risk factors, and then a bit about the recommendations for diet and physical activity for healthy lifestyle, which Ahmar has already covered in a very comprehensive way, but just a touch on these. So what are the benefits of annual health checkups when we talk about preventive health care? So first of all, it is basically very important for stress management. Then also when we talk about our performance, it just not only rely upon how physically fit we are, but how mentally and emotionally stable we are in terms of giving our best productivity. Then when we take care of, when we are dealing with anything, there are two approaches to deal with a problem. So similar goes with our health. First is the proactive approach, and second is the reactive approach. So proactive approach is actually the preventive aspect, so dealing with the disease when it doesn't happen. So when we have regular health screenings or preventive checks, then actually it help us in preventing the disease and taking care of the problem before it actually occurs. So indirectly, it actually reduces the cost of treatment and reduces the chances of complications. And obviously, when we take care of our health and wellness in such a way, it definitely has a positive quality of life, not only for us, but also for people living around us. So let's begin with a case scenario. So a 50-year-old gentleman, I think most of you can relate to this. So a 50-year-old gentleman, Mr. Arshad, who is a company's executive, presents to my office for his annual health checkup. So he's hypertensive for 5 years. This is problem one, but his blood pressures are still uncontrolled on medications. The reason, because he's not complying with the prescribed medications. His BMI, which is actually his weight according to height, is 26, which classifies him as obese. Recently, he got his fasting blood sugar checked and it was 112. So it's not diabetes, because diabetes is above 125. But again, it's not normal, because normal fasting is less than 100. So something between normal and diabetes, which is actually another terminology which we use as pre-diabetes. So he is actually on the road towards diabetes, and if he doesn't take care of all the risk factors, then soon there's a possibility that soon he is going to develop diabetes. Coming to his habits, he smokes 10 cigarettes a day, but that habit is since 20 years. He tried to quit smoking multiple times in past. However, he says that because of the stress of work, it did not let him refrain from the habit of smoking. His lifestyle is sedentary. He's never engaged in any regular exercise, sports, or any kind of physical activity because he thinks that he's too busy for these activities. Diet mostly consists of oily foods, red meat, and rice because he's not interested in eating veggies. So his concern, he feels lethargic and depressed most of the time, and now very much concerned of getting diabetes since his sugars are already in borderline high range. He now wants to have a health and wellness plan for himself as he is entering 2021. So what are the problems? So the problems are not simple. So when we classify his problems, so there are medical problems, obesity, hypertensive, prediabetes. There are mental problems, as we already discussed in the beginning, that in this session, we are actually looking at the holistic point of view or the whole person care. So it's important to cover all the aspects with which a person presents with. Lifestyle, it's about smoking, lack of physical activity, and unhealthy eating habits, and non-compliance to medications, because he thinks that hypertension is not producing any symptoms. It's just the numbers. So I think I can deal without medications. So here comes the role of medical checkups. So there are basically 6 major components on which a preventive health checkup or a medical checkup should be based upon. So it's important whenever you visit your doctor for these kinds of regular or annual health checkups, you need to be sure that all these components were taken care of. So health screenings. What is health screening? So health screening is basically diagnosing the disease before it produces any symptoms. You have no symptoms, but once you go and get your blood pressure checked, it came out to be 150 by 90. And you said, I have no symptoms, no headache, nothing. So what's this? Do I need to be treated? Yes, you need to be treated. So these kinds of problem only can get diagnosed if you get them checked, because 90% of the people with hypertension, with high blood pressure, they do not have any symptoms. So it's only when you check it, you get to know it. So there comes the role of health screening. Similar goes for diabetes, similar goes for high cholesterol levels. Then lifestyle and habits modification. So it's very important to get to know what is your lifestyle. Is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? And where are exactly the areas which needs to be modified? Risk factors assessment. So if my father had history of MI or heart attack, so automatically I'm at high risk for a heart attack at a certain age. But this is the factor that I cannot modify because it's in my genes, it's in my family, so I cannot modify. But what I can modify is my weight. I can modify my diet. I can modify my exercise pattern. I can modify my health-seeking behavior pattern. So these are the risk factors which I can assess and which I can modify in order to lead a healthy lifestyle or in order to prevent the diseases which still have not occurred. Then there are certain medications or nutritional supplements that are required. For example, after 40, your bones started to get weak. So it's important to know whether you need any calcium supplement or vitamin D supplements or any other nutritional supplement which is actually needed. Then, as we all talk about emotional well-being and certain laboratory tests that are important to check your health status. So the main focus of preventive care is actually to get to know the key risk factors for chronic disease, because it is well-known fact, it is proven by research that if you treat the risk factors, you can actually prevent greater than 90% of the chronic diseases. So major risk factors are use of tobacco, excessive alcohol consumption, physical inactivity, and unhealthy eating. So as per WHO data, 41 million people every year die from non-communicable diseases. And most of these are actually prevented. Diabetes, it's a huge epidemic. So COVID is, it's a pandemic, but diabetes is actually turning out to be a slow epidemic in whole of the world, especially in Pakistan. Pakistan now ranks 4th among the countries with highest prevalence of diabetes. So according to the recent data, around 28 million people in Pakistan lives with diabetes. So hypertension is the main risk factor for having a stroke or a heart attack. It's also called a silent killer. So as I also mentioned earlier, it's very important to get your blood pressure checked even if you don't have any symptoms. So make it a regular habit, at least once in a month. Get your numbers checked. You should be knowing your numbers. Why it is important? Because see, if you get your blood pressure checked and it is above 140 or high, so you have high blood pressure, your doctor will definitely say, okay, start medications or implement lifestyle changes first. But if your blood pressure is in the gray zone, like in the yellow zone, so still you have the opportunity in the pre-hypertension zone to avoid medications and control your blood pressure by means of healthy exercise, diet, and physical activity. So you need to decide whether you need to stop, you are ready, or you are good to go. So do you know how much you should weight for your height? So it's called BMI. So how much weight for your height? So for Asians, the cutoff are lower. So if you are above 24 BMI, so you are overweight. And if you are above 27, you are obese. So obesity actually increases your chance of having heart attacks, your chance of having high blood pressure, your chance of having diabetes. So once you control your blood pressure, your weight or BMI, you can actually control these factors or actually prevent from getting into these diseases. So do you know your numbers? Again, cholesterol levels. So the cholesterol levels, what is your cutoff vary according to the risk factors you have or according to the disease you have. So if you are diabetic, your cutoff for let's say LDL cholesterol should be lower. It should be less than 100. So if you're non-diabetic, non-hypertensive, no family history of heart disease, so probably your cutoff would be 130 or 150. So you need to talk to your doctor to find out what are the optimum levels for you for a different kind of cholesterol like HDL, LDL, and total cholesterol. So as I said, vitamin D deficiency is a leading cause of, is a leading nutritional deficiency today. So if I can recall, so every third patient I see in my clinic is suffering from vitamin D deficiency, documented vitamin D deficiency. And many are those who actually don't get tested and still they are vitamin D deficient. So it's not only important for maintaining a health of your bones, but it's actually important for maintaining your overall well-being. So now many researches have been done and they have actually concluded that vitamin D is also one of the cause of depression and anxiety. So it's very important to get these checked because of the rapid urbanization and the change in the lifestyle of our population, because we get limited sun exposure. So it's very common that enough vitamin D do not get synthesized. So in case of deficiency, you need to take high dose of vitamin D along with the calcium and vitamin D supplements. And even if you do not have any deficiency, if you're after 40 years, if you are at the age of 40 years, you should think and you should talk to your doctor about starting vitamin D supplements. The recommended amount is about 800 to 1,000 international units per day in order to maintain your level. So healthy diet, already Ahmar has discussed about healthy diet, and I agree with all the recommendations that he has shared. So definitely your large portion should be made up of vegetable, fruits and whole grains. You need to limit your intake of salt, very starchy foods, very sugary, sweetened and saturated fat containing substances. So there are certain very simple strategies that you can incorporate in your daily life in order to increase your level of physical activity. Like, for example, if you have an office at 4th floor, instead of using lift, use the stairs. Park car at a reasonable distance away so that you can walk towards your work location. But for this, you need to be ready a little bit earlier, because if you're getting late, so definitely these would not sound a very good idea. So again, as we already discussed, that being disciplined is very important. So take walking breaks after every 45 minutes, set reminders on your laptop. So which should pop up after every 45 minutes. Then you have to get up and, do some exercises and then come back towards your chair. Then there are certain offices which actually promote group workouts and exercise rooms in office. So it's a nice idea to think about that. And yes, 45 to 50 minutes of brisk walking at least 5 days in a week is the recommended international recommendations, which everyone should follow. But apart from that, we need to think about these strategies to increase the level of physical activity. Stress management. So whenever you have stress, don't take it as a negative thing. Take it an alarm, which is actually pointing you, which is actually asking you to revisit your life pattern and think about those aspects which needs to be modified in order to make a stress-free life or a coping mechanism. So again, it's a holistic approach to whole person care. It's not just physical, it should cover the mental, social, emotional, healthy lifestyle, your family life, and spiritual well-being. So you cannot ignore any one of them and say, okay, I'm living a healthy life. So health and wellness, health is not just that you do not have any disease. It's basically the presence of physical, mental, social, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So let's plan your health and wellness for 2021 through following these healthy resolutions. So mark your diary and start fresh here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rabia. Now I would like to invite Dr. Rizwan Khan to share his insights on health and wellness.
Thank you very much, Ayesha. Everybody is sharing so many technical things. My presentation is very rudimentary, very basic things. So I hope that you would like that. Just give me a second and I'll be... Okay, can you see my screen? Okay. So I will talk a little bit about the other side of this story. So we are talking about the medical checkup. We are talking about the physical activities. All of them are definitely very helpful. But then we look at from a different perspective, and that is the how we live in daily life. So we eat food, which is calories. So we have intake, then we burn them either with activity or with exercise. And then we have the result, which is either a weight loss or weight gain. So if this is quite surprising that if you're trying to maintain your weight, so roughly about 80% is the role of the diet that you are taking in, and 20% is for the exercise. So definitely exercise is very important thing for your well-being. But when we talk about maintaining or losing weight or gaining weight, then the diet is very important. If you look at this pyramid, you can see here that the macronutrients, whatever you are eating, that how they play their role. So we talk about carbs and other things. Then you talk about calorie intake, 80-20 rule, as I mentioned, exercise, meal timing. And this is the most important thing that we need to consider. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, most of people, if you're not going to office, I call my friends on Saturday or Sunday, and nobody wakes up before 11 or 12. And I'm very surprised that how could they manage that? And then when I call them sometime like 9 p.m. Pakistan time, and they say, oh, we are going for dinner. And really my jaw drops until here. I said like 9 p.m., really? In Vietnam, and Danielle probably endorsed that one, that we have dinner by 6 p.m. So after 6 p.m. we don't eat. So this is the time, and the breakfast is sharp at 7 a.m. So in Vietnam or in Southeast Asian countries in general, 7 a.m. is breakfast, 12 is lunch, and 6 p.m. is dinner. So that's how it goes generally. That is really important. And one of the things that we all neglect is supplements. So as the name suggests, it's a supplement. It's not something that gives you it's not the main source of energy, but that supplements what you are lacking. So it could be, let's say, fish oil, or it's vitamin D or vitamin C. They just supplement what you are lacking. So you need to look at that as well in a little bit more detail based on what you need. You can see a chart on the screen, and this is basically age-wise, gender-wise, and the lifestyle-wise calorie requirement. So I assume, and because I am also in the same age bracket, I assume that people who are between 31 and 50 years of age, if you are male, you need between 2,200 to 2,400 calories a day. If you have a sedentary lifestyle. Now, one of the questions came on the Q&A section is that the IT lifestyle is it's just like you just sit and you don't do much. And I was like, yes, you are right, but you have not seen the lifestyle of chartered accountants. Trust me, we go to office at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I did not see, personally, I have not seen the sunset or sunrise for 3 years, because I go early in the morning and I come back after midnight or 2 a.m., sometimes even 5 a.m. So I haven't seen the sunset for 3 years. So we have all gone through this, and I'm not diminishing any profession. I'm also in IT, I'm in finance. I have been there, done that. All professions are like this. So we need to decide where to start from. So we will send this presentation to all of you. Please leave your email so you don't have to worry about the data and everything. You will get all the presentations from our panelists. So let's take an example of 2,200 calories. Now, on the other hand, how you are going to burn? So everybody's talking about numbers, so I will give you a little bit numbers as well. So we all like to go to McDonald's and have, or KFC, have a Zinger burger with a large Coke, right? So if you have a burger, you have to walk 1 hour and 19 minutes just to burn the calories of that. With a Coke, you have to walk another 43 minutes. So imagine that one burger and one Coke, you have to walk more than 2 hours just to burn the calories from that. So that is the magnitude of what we are eating and how we are eating. So this is really important. So you can see that I can give a very simple example, and Dr. Rabia probably could endorse. If we just add 1 teaspoon of teaspoon of sugar in tea, that's roughly 5 grams of tea, has 19 calories. On an annual basis, you are gaining 13 kilograms of weight just because of 1 spoon of sugar. And this is just a simple math. It's 19 calories, 2 teas or 3 teas a day times 365. You can calculate that you are gaining 13 kilograms just because you like to have sweet tea. And in Pakistan, most of the time I could not even drink tea because it's for me, it's like a syrup, sugar syrup. It's not tea. I'm not criticizing, I'm just telling you how things are going here. I remember at the beginning of this year, I bought a half kilogram packet of brown sugar. I still have 450 grams in my refrigerator. That is my annual consumption of additional sugar. That means sugar that is not in the food. Definitely if you eat cookies, they are there, but I don't go for extra sugar. So let's go for some, I will give you a couple of diets that you could take into account, and then you could see that how you can do this. But these diets require a very strict discipline. They are not easy, but once you do them, you get addicted to them. And this is really fantastic. So the first diet, I would say that is the diet of our forefathers, 10,000 years ago until 2.5 million, 25 lakh saal pehle, people, how they were eating. So they were eating the food what is available right now. Most of them were not available 10,000 years ago. So you can see in protein, you go for meat, which is grass-fed. You go for bananas. You go for nut milks because the dairy milk was not available. So this is basically a chart of what you can eat and what you cannot eat. So in simple words, you eat the natural food, but you do not eat the processed food. It requires a lot of discipline. And the second one is my personal favorite that I did, and I just started again. It's called keto diet. Keto diet is really amazing in the sense, and it's really, it matches with my lifestyle probably because it's something you have to eat 70 to 75% of fats, which is counterintuitive because when you eat fat, you get fat. But in keto diet, when you eat fat, you lose fat. And how it works, because your body releases ketones and you are at very low carb. Your carbohydrates intake goes down to 5%, which is between 20 to 50 grams of carbohydrates. And I can tell you personally, last time I bought the naan is a bread, like a pizza bread. So last time I bought the naan in August 2020, and that was the last time I have eaten rice or noodles or bread. These are the things that is completely out of my food. Not because that, I mean, I just don't like them. I love them. I love croissant. I love brown bread, but for some reason I have to cut down on them. So basically what you do, you go for 70 to 75% of fat, roughly about 20% of protein and 5% of carbohydrates. And by doing this, you start losing weight. So this is another diet that requires a lot of discipline. They are difficult. When I started, first 2 days was, I really wanted to punch something. So lucky I have a punching bag at home. So I just started punching the bag. Otherwise, if some family member would be here, then probably I would be shouting and I would be really angry. But that was the good thing that I had. So now, if you look at the mass. So typical Pakistani diet, we generally go for 3 meals a day. And I just try to put it out, and please correct me if I'm wrong. So our breakfast is generally 1 or 2 parathas, which is about 252 calories, 2 eggs, which is about 186 calories, and 1 tea with milk and sugar. So our breakfast is generally 638 calories. And then when you go for lunch, we have a rice plate, we have a curry, we have a naan, we have Coke. Some people like carbonated drinks, and we like to have tea. So that's about 1,000 calories. Our dinner is roti and mutton, for example, or 1 Coke or tea. So it's 1,100. So with this typical diet, we have 2,787 calories, 2,800 calories. Our requirements, if you recall from the previous slide, is 2,200. You are having 587 calories extra. And that means you are gaining 24 kilo every year if you do not change your lifestyle. So this is really important, that how you have to count
the Dr. Rizwan, you forgot the tea. You know, people take tea also. That's another 1,000 calories.
Exactly.
There is a tea break between lunch and dinner.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly. So the way, exactly. Yeah, exactly. The way Pakistani.
The chai break.
Sure. Chai break, exactly. The tea break, exactly. The way Pakistani drink tea is 200 calories per cup because of sugar, because of milk. And that's really dangerous. Now, I share with you my typical diet plan, what I do usually. So in my breakfast, I have a bowl of muesli with milk, 300 ml of milk, and a black coffee. So my breakfast is roughly about 655 calories, plus minus, let's say 700 calories. I don't have lunch. I divide the whole day into small snacking sessions. And those snacking sessions are black coffee, maybe a couple of bananas, and some mixed nut, cashew nuts, almonds, and all these things. So these are the things. So roughly about 500 calories for my snacks for the whole day. And I try to eat on interval. So for example, every 2-3 hours, I eat something. So my metabolism is working all the time. My dinner is generally a bowl of green salad. It's usually lettuce and iceberg and other, maybe a couple of boiled eggs and a glass of milk with turmeric. So that's my dinner. So I have roughly about 1,586, 1,600 calories. With my requirement, 2,200 calories, I am on a shortfall of 600 calories. After 1 week, I have a shortfall of 4,200 calories, roughly 4,300 calories. Then I can party on Sunday, right? So that's the whole idea behind that. So that's how it works. This is my personal chart that I am sharing with you. This is what I have when I started the keto in August 2019. My BMI was 30. I was 103. Actually, I was 107 few months ago, but then I lost weight, and then I could not go below that 103. So then I started keto, and I started losing weight. By December 2019, my BMI was 25. Not an ideal one, but at least starting from 30, 103 kilo, I went down to 89, 88, 89 kilo. So that is really a good, in 4 months time, that's from my point of view, without changing anything. I did not change my lifestyle as such. It's only diet, nothing else. And I'm not recommending that you should go for this, but those who say that, oh, I'm too busy, I don't have the time for this, I don't have time for that, that's exactly what I am. And this is what I did. And that's how I lost my weight. Now, what to avoid at all cost? Nutrition, less calories, sugar, carbohydrates. These are the things that you should not take. Avoid as much as possible. Rice, bread, cookies. These are really dangerous. So this is to give you an idea. These are the 9 things that you should avoid at all costs. I have seen people, I have seen professionals, they have candies in their drawer. This is dangerous, right? People drink coffee or tea with a lot of sugar. That's also dangerous. Pizza once in a while is okay, but not like you go for pizza all the time, right? So that's how things that you should avoid. And if you are going for a bodybuilding, you go for high carb diet. But if you have a normal lifestyle, you go for losing fat, then you should go for low carb diet. It really depends on your lifestyle. We are not the judge. This is what I am telling you from my experience, what we have seen. Last one is that there is a study. This is a presentation on TED. There's a study on the longevity of the life, and they have a group of people. They tested their vital signs, and they have seen their lifestyle. They observed for 7 years, and they found out these are the reasons that basically make your life longer. And you would be surprised, and I was surprised as well, that exercise is number 6 or number 7. The top 3, social integration, that how well you are integrated in the society. And this is more relevant to the people who are living abroad. Close relationship, how you have the relationship with your family, with your friends, that is important. Quit smoking, quit alcohol, you have proper vaccination, you have cardiac rehab, etc. So you can see that the general, I was raised with all these ideas. Do exercise, go for this, go for that. It changes your life. Yes, it does. It does. I'm not saying it does not, but there are other factors as well. So you need to look at the holistic approach, not just one factor. You do a lot of exercise, but you don't control your diet, definitely it's not going to help at all. Thank you for listening to me. This is just a simple presentation on diet and everything. Over to you, Ayesha.
I think Ayesha is not around.
Okay, okay. So I think the next presentation is Hassan, who's a teenager, and he started as a teenager a mixed regime on diet and exercise. So he will share his experience. Let me share the screen first, then he will continue. Just 1 minute, Hassan, please.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Okay, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. Good evening and assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Hassan Khan. I'm 15 years old and today my topic is about losing weight as a teenager. I'm going to be telling you my transformation story because I was overweight as a child, but now I'm a fit, young and energetic teenager. So let's begin with the reasons why I was overweight. So the first reason why people are overweight is basically consuming too many calories, which is obviously self-explanatory. What these calories contain are mostly nothing of great nutritional values, such as junk food, chips, biscuits, sugary items, carbonated drinks, which most of the young people don't pay attention to. Just gulp down the cold drinks like that is nothing, which has a lot of sugar and is really dangerous to your health. And most of the young people also don't focus, those who are obese, they don't focus on proper exercise. They are usually couch potatoes. Yeah. And most importantly, as Dr. Rizwan mentioned, they don't know when to eat and what to eat. So basically, next slide, please. So yeah, this was me in February 2018. And then the next picture shows me 2018 June. Yeah, so as you can see, I was quite fat. I was overweight. And yeah, that's next slide, please. So how did I transform myself? In August 2019, I was about 80 kg. And then in December 2019, I was 60 kg. So I lost about 20 kg. So what are the reasons? How did I lose that weight? So the main thing in losing weight is maintaining a calorie deficit diet. What a calorie deficit is basically consuming less calories than you are burning. So for example, you are burning 350 more calories than you are eating. So in about 10 days, you will lose 1 pound. So this what I used to do. I used to maintain a calorie deficit diet. As you can see on the bottom right corner of my presentation, as Dr. Rizwan also showed you, that losing weight is about 80 or 70% diet and 20 to 30% exercise. So diet is a really important and crucial part of losing weight. Having breakfast and dinner on time is also important. To your diet, and having sufficient sleep, 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours of sound sleep is also important. And physical activities you can do like running or a team sport like cricket or football or just a sport is really good for your health as well. Next slide, please. So before I show you my transformation, I would like to give a special mention to my mom, who has her own YouTube channel by the name of Cook by Gia Khan. She really supported me when I was losing weight, and she does a lot of amazing and delicious and healthy recipes on YouTube. You can see her channel logo and a QR code. You can scan it to check her channel. Next slide. Yeah, so as you can see, I lost a lot of weight, 20 kg in 2019, and in December 2019, you can see how much I've lost my weight. Then February 2020 this year, and then another picture of February 2020. I used to feel a lot more confident when I lost this weight. Yes, next slide, please. So this basically shows the chart of losing weight. In August 2019, I was 80 kg. Then again, I was 60 kg. And then this year, I decided that I was going to bulk up again and then I was going to lose my weight. So I was sure that I can lose it again, and I'm like very disciplined with myself. And then again, as my height also grew, and I also lost about 10 kg. I went to 78 in July 2020, and now currently I'm 70. So I lost almost about 8 kg, and now I'm perfectly fine, as you can see, and healthy as well. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent, Hassan.
Well done, Hassan. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So from a company's perspective, अगर हम CFO की बात करें, head of HR की बात करें, so one of the agenda for CFO is to cut down the cost, and this includes the medical cost. तो अगर हम ख्याल रखें अपने employees का, अगर if our employees are healthy, and we are going to reduce a lot of cost on our medical bills, number one. Number two, for head of HR, a lot of absences can be cut down. A lot of sick leaves can be cut down. अगर हम companies के point of view से भी देखें, तो it could have a major impact. अगर इस तरह के हम awareness sessions करें, अपनी companies में करें, अगर employees healthy होंगे, तो हमारा medical का bill भी कम होगा और हमारी productivity भी ज़्यादा होगी. जी, any questions? There are some questions which Rizwan and Ahmar have already answered. So there is a question: does my BMI matter in a muscular individual? But is there any occasional or social drinking or partying? But who engages in strenuous physical activity otherwise? I don't know what he wants to ask.
Possibly Daniel is the right person to answer that.
The numbers are just a general guideline, to be honest. If we're talking about the averages, then the numbers do play a role. But like you said, if you're a highly muscle individual with a very low tax of body fat, for the most part, you'll be okay, provided that you're living a sensible lifestyle. You're not smoking too much. You're not drinking too much alcohol. You're taking care of yourself. And like Dr. Rabia said, making sure that your bloods are being checked on a regular basis to make sure that your hormonal profiles are okay. You're not suffering from cholesterol or hypertension. So for the most part, these numbers are just a guideline. It's really a matter of communicating appropriately with your doctor, making sure that all your health markers are in check, rather than just focalizing on a single data point. And that's, again, something that I think all of us are on the same page on. It's really about taking care of yourself on a holistic level, rather than just sort of cherry picking the data to suit your narrative, so to speak.
Perhaps I would add one thing here is generally when we talk about that, what about occasional drinking? Yes, it's fine. But I mean, when we talk about occasional anything, you have to log it. You have to record it. That's very important, because one glass of alcohol can become 5 very fast. It's the same thing. One plate of biryani becomes 2, right? And before we know, then our stomach is going much farther than we are going, right? So that's really important. Measuring something is the key. If you cannot measure something, you cannot fix it. That's the key. So whether, yes, Daniel.
If I may jump in, I'd also like to talk a little bit about the often overlooked aspect of fitness is the recovery, because it's for some people that really get into fitness, they start to go overboard, and then they start to run into problems on the other side of the divide with injuries and wear and tear and the inability to recover and chronic fatigue. So everything in moderation as per what your body requires. And that's going to be a little bit different for everybody. So it's going to require a little bit of self-experimentation. Not everybody's going to do necessarily well on keto, particularly if you're somebody that's very active, but it's also about understanding what foods agree with your body, what activities agree with your body, and what you can realistically do over the long haul. For myself, I train 10 times a week because I've been training for a long time. I do martial arts, I do yoga, I do weight training, but that's something that fits into my lifestyle, and I've integrated that over a long time. If you're finding yourself working 70, 75, 80 hours a week, you might opt for something that's a little bit more close to home in terms of maybe going for walks or maybe doing some stretching before you go to bed. But the important thing here is really fine-tuning the program in a way that allows you to stick to it. because that's honestly the biggest issue that I found with my clients. It's not that they don't know what to do, is that they're not able to do it consistently because out of sight, out of mind, so many priorities take precedence in a day-to-day.
Definitely. And one more thing I would like to add here is that DNA plays a very important role in your metabolic system. If you look at the studies, and I think Dr. Rabia will endorse as well, that roughly about 44 to 45% people are those who really need high carbohydrates diet. And then there are another 45% who need moderate carbohydrates diet. And there are roughly about 8% people who need very low carbohydrate diets. That means that if these people go for high carb diet, they will gain weight no matter whatever they do. So that's one of the things that we need to consider as well. So it really depends on your lifestyle, on your body style, there are many factors. There's no one thing. If something that works for Dan will not work for me or for Shehzad. So it's just like that. Yes, Shehzad.
I have a question on, somebody asked on the Facebook as well. How about sleep? And what should be the amount of sleep in a day? Is it something like sleeping less affects your health or sleeping more affects your health? Any views on sleep or sleep disorders?
Okay, perhaps I, Ahmar, and Shehzad, we are more than qualified for this, for sleep deprivation. I could tell you from my experience. I usually, let's say 10, 15 years ago, I sleep 4 hours, 6 hours. It's very irregular. And then I found that one thing I really need to do is that I need to find a bedtime. And for me, it's generally between 10 and 11 p.m. I try to sleep. One thing I do is that in my bedroom, no electronic devices are allowed. So right now, yes, I am sitting in my bedroom. It's almost my sleep time, but definitely once the webinar is over, I will switch it off and then I will sleep. So that is one thing. How long sleep is needed? I would say that minimum 6 hours is something for you to function properly, and no longer than 9 hours. That is something, just a general guideline. Again, it depends on your lifestyle and other things as well. So I remember when I was in Ferguson, when I started early at that time, there was a game came at that time. It's called Command and Conquer Red Alert. And I don't know if any of you have played that game. That's really addictive strategy game. We used to play late in the night. We come back from office at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. Then we play 2-3 hours, and then we sleep very little. And then next morning, we just walk like zombies. And then we do all these kind of things. So yes, when you are young, probably you could handle that. But when you are 40 plus, then it's a no-no thing. I mean, you really have to consider that the age does play a very important role in your lifestyle. Over to you, Ahmar, if you would like to add something.
No, I think you're right. That 9 hours, I was thinking, when was last time I had the luxury to sleep 9 hours?
No, that's maximum. That's maximum.
Actually, I would spend money to be able to sleep 9 hours if there is a way to do it, because I can't consume alcohol, Daniel, so I can't knock myself out. But but for me, 6 hours is great, but 6 to 7 hours. But as you said, everybody has a different body. You need to know your body, right? You need to be able to function. But I 100% agree with you. I don't know. I think more than 8 hours is not healthy, right? So 6 to 8 hours is probably the right number. Sound sleep. But whatever we do, I think a lot of people, since this webinar is very focused on Pakistan and South Asia, what I think people here probably sleep more than 8 hours. It's the timing of that sleep is so bad, right? Because they sleep when most people are getting up, right? So they would go to bed anytime between 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. I have personally met people in the last 4 months who very proudly say that we sleep after Fajr, right? Mm-hmm. And then whether they sleep 5 hours or 8 hours, it's unbelievable, right? So it's crazy, right? The timing is so right. God has made night for sleeping, period. Not for anything else. So I think we need to just stick to that. Let's not fight nature. Let's not fight the rules, right? Let's play with the rules. Rules are made for our benefit. We don't need to be different from the rest of the world.
Yes, Dr.
So
Rabia, you are.
there's a concept of sleep hygiene. So yes, I agree with both of you. Establishing a regular pattern of sleep at the same time daily is very important. So it's if you have a sleep time at 8 p.m., you should stick to it every day. And early to bed, early to rise, I think it's still valid in this 2021 as well. So because what happens if you sleep late, then the hormonal mechanism of your body gets disturbed. So melatonin secretion is the one which occurs at night. So if you disturb that, then your overall performance gets affected, no matter how long you sleep in the daytime. But if you don't get the required amount of sleep in the nighttime, then 8 or 10 or 12 hours of sleep even cannot make you fresh and healthy.
I agree. And one thing, a misconception, sorry, Daniel, just 1 minute. One misconception in Pakistan that even my grandmom used to say, oh, you sleep a lot, you are going to gain weight. I would say it's opposite. If you have a healthy sleep, you are actually losing weight. You're not gaining weight. Yes, Dan, over to you.
To that, I'd also like to add that aside from the hormonal dysregulations that happen when sleep deprivation becomes a real issue, particularly if it's chronic, particularly if it's something that follows you into middle age and beyond, is that it also starts to have effects not only on the way your body metabolizes nutrients, but also in terms of things like cravings, which is also tied into chronic stress and all that kind of stuff. But for a lot of people that I've worked with, particularly folks that fall in the pre-obese and obese category, they report that if they fix their sleep, and this might take a little bit of time because like all things worthwhile, it takes a little bit of work. But once they get their sleep in check, they find themselves craving fewer of the quote unquote cheat foods that they would struggle to avoid. So on a practical level, it also really does help promote better habits throughout the day. And it's not just a matter of resting and recovering. It also helps you to get everything else in check once your body is primed for success for the whole day.
I agree. I'm not a morning person, and waking up in the morning is has been always a struggle. I do manage to wake up early as well. But I was laughing when I was laughing because of some other reason. There's a funny joke. So I will tell this in Urdu and then I will tell in English later on. So Dr. Rabia बोल रही थी early to bed, early to rise. तो मुर्गा जो है वो सबसे पहले वो सोता है, सबसे पहले जागता है और शाम में कढ़ाई में होता है. तो definitely मतलब वो तो अपनी जगह पे है. What I'm saying then that the rooster wakes up early in the morning, but it's the first one that goes onto the barbecue. So definitely waking up early is not good at all time. But anyway, that's on the lighter side. Yes,
so
Shehzad.
there is a question, comment from Sayyid Imtiaz Abbas Hussain. Dieting or artificial control of diet is a suicide. Instead of burning calories is a healthy solution through play, games, walk, etc. Do you agree, panelists? So it is his opinion. Now he wants to ask.
If that's the only two choice, then I do agree. But clearly there are other options as well. But if that's the only choice, I do agree.
Yeah, I think no offense to anyone, with all due respect, what I would say is that it has been proven scientifically that exercise does help your body. It does help your mental capabilities, and it is really good for your health to de-stress yourself, to build your mental cognizance and all these things. Yes, definitely there are a lot of benefits for that. But considering that diet is not good, because there's a misconception in Pakistan that people are going to slimming clinics and they are getting, oh, if you have 1 spoon of this, then whatever you eat, nothing will happen. It's not that. What I am emphasizing, and I'm sure that his comment is not directing towards me, but in general, what I am emphasizing is that you need to control your calories intake. It's not that diet this or diet that. What I am saying is that eat whatever. Like, for example, just Hassan mentioned that he controlled with the taking out the junk food. So he was eating everything apparently, and then he lost weight. So control the calories intake, go for exercise, try to have a healthy lifestyle. It's a combination of that. It's not either or, it's basically the whole picture. So that's the point. Yes, Daniel.
I think it also has a lot to do with your goals, to be honest, and your time allotment or your time availability. If you have a lot of time to dedicate to strenuous activity like rock climbing or martial arts or CrossFit, by all means, have at it. It's basically like having a budget for your calories. If you have a very active lifestyle, you need to fuel your body. If you find yourself having a lot of commitments throughout the day and you struggle to find the time to dedicate to exercise, then the other option is to cut down on the calories just enough to get the results you want or to maintain. I think it doesn't necessarily have to be a binary situation where you have to pick and choose one or the other. I think it's more about finding out what it is that you want to achieve and then fine tuning the program in order to allow you to make the progress you want to make. And I'm also one for the slow game. Diet seems to have a pretty negative connotation, at least in the West, where everybody wants to lose 10 kilograms in 6 weeks or lose this much by beach season. I honestly think that by implementing a small enough deficit to where you don't feel deprived is going to serve you for the long run, so that you're still able to enjoy the lifestyle that you like without having to make too many sacrifices, especially in the initial stages. And then you figure out the rest as you go along. And that seems to be the best way forward for a lot of people.
Thank you very much. One last question, and after that, I will make a resolution. What is the way to remain fit in our culture and society, as we have parties and relatives who push us to eat and eat more and more, to celebrate on success, and there are marriages and celebrations of blah, blah, jobs, etc. What's the way to say no? So he wants to ask how to learn to say no. Gee, any one of you.
Perhaps Daniel will not be able to answer this properly in the context of Pakistani culture, but Pakistani culture is very similar to Italian culture as well, where you have to eat. So Italian culture is not far away from our culture as well. But I think definitely for weddings and all these things, you cannot say no, but basically no one is looking at you. So it's basically your discipline, that how you control the food. That is one thing. If you go in daytime, then as Ahmar mentioned that you should be fasting. So then you have an excuse, sorry, I am fasting today, so I cannot eat. So that would be another way. But I agree. I mean, in our culture, it's very difficult to go for this. When I was in Pakistan, so everybody is trying to give you, okay, here's the food, here's the drink, and all these kind of things. So you can't really control. But then again, I mean, you need to decide that, okay, if you want to eat outside, then what you should not be eating at home. So that is the thing. Again, calorie intake is very important thing. You have to control the intake, so you don't have to go for exercise. It's very easy. You take a burger, you take one bite and 600 calories. And then you have to run half a marathon to burn that calorie, right? So it's really important to balance the intake and the exercise. That's my viewpoint. Daniel, you would like to add something?
I personally like to calculate weekly averages when it comes to calories. I don't necessarily prescribe to, oh, I only have 22 or 25 or 2,700 calories a day. I look at week to week or even bi-weekly, particularly when there's weddings and parties and Christmas and whatnot. Sometimes I just allow myself a higher calorie day and then sort of make up for it over the next few days without having to bum myself out or feel bad about enjoying a celebration with the people that I love, right? It's about having the flexibility to be able to stick to the plan in a way that makes sense in the moment. Obviously, if you're going to have 8 back-to-back cheat days, that's probably going to derail your progress for the month. But if you're sensible about it and perhaps you do a little bit of fasting throughout the day because you know you're going to have a big night out, these are very practical things that you can implement in a way that's not going to derail your progress, but still allows you to enjoy you know, the things that make life beautiful.
So it's also about to control the portion of food that you are taking. So similarly, if you are going for a wedding, you can cover your half plate with a salad. Nobody would say anything to you. And it's I what I feel, it's not about saying learning to say no to others. It's about learning to say no to our own inner desires, because
Exactly.
nobody's watching you. What did you eat? What did you not eat? And then you can select unfried items, things like that. So you can get barbecue, and again, I think it's up to us. And then if you want to, like for example, if there are birthday parties, you can take one bite of cake rather than taking a whole slice of cake. So I think these small strategies will definitely help you out once you have made a resolution with you only, right?
I agree completely with you, Dr. Sahiba. In Urdu वो हम कहते हैं कि ये खाना किसी और का है, पेट तो अपना है ना, तो बस अपने पेट का ख्याल करें, खाने को छोड़ दें. So what I'm saying, Daniel, is that the food may be, someone is giving you food, but the stomach belongs to you. So you should take care of your stomach. The food will take care of itself. A very interesting webinar, and we are running out of time. And I'm sure that we could have a couple of more webinars on the same topic. So definitely Shehzad will give some more information about this. Over to you, Shehzad.
जी इंशाल्लाह मजीद करते हैं but one last comment from you and from me is my resolution. So right now I am overweight, I am obese, my BMI is almost 30, 29 point something, my weight is almost 83 kg. I am on some supplements like vitamin D. I have to take vitamin D almost every 2 months, and I am taking some medications for my cholesterol. I take some sleep medications as well. So there are a lot of illnesses and sicknesses because of the poor diet and lack of physical activity. So I make a resolution. I will eat more in the coming year, and I will not do any exercise, and I will grow more weight. And my target is 100 kg, and my BMI target is 40. So thank you all, and you can make your comments. Thank you.
So, well, my resolution is that we will have at least one webinar every couple of months about the health, wellness, and fitness. So people will learn from that. And we will bring more people, like somebody commented here, that the person was 159 kilo, and now that person is 99 kilo. So that's a remarkable transformation. And I think there are more inspiring stories around us as well. So we need to look at them and then bring them in this webinar so people can get the inspiration from them as well. Yes, Ahmar.
I had a lot of great New Year resolutions, but I think now I'm going to focus on Shehzad. My new resolution is not make sure that he doesn't get his resolution done. So Shehzad, we'll make sure you're going to be a success story coming out of the CFO Club in 2021, inshallah.
Sure. I was about to say what Ahmar has just said.
Exactly. Now I know he's what I could do is I can give him a local instructor, Hassan Khan. I will request him to give some discipline and other things to Shehzad, and an international instructor, Danielle. So then definitely we all work on making sure that Shehzad is BMI will be 25 by the mid of next year, inshallah. And not 40, definitely not.
Easy.
Yes, Dr. Sahiba.
My resolution is to do more health awareness sessions for my patients, for general public, people who are already suffering from diseases, how to lead a healthy lifestyle, especially in this COVID era when boosting your immunity is so much important by controlling other risk factors. Because what I have seen in the last 1 year, people are actually neglecting these chronic diseases like diabetes. So people are now coming with uncontrolled diabetes and hypertension because they have neglected their health in this COVID era of the year 2020. So my resolution is basically to work on those patients and get them regain the control on their health and fitness.
Thank you.
Yes, Daniel.
My resolution?
Yeah.
Similar to Dr. Rabia's, honestly, it's about helping individuals reclaim their health and their quality of life. When it comes to things like aesthetics and weight loss, exercise, like you said very justly, it's only about 20% of the equation. But in order to maximize your quality of life in terms of feeling well, that's where things like mobility come in, avoiding joint pain, avoiding lower back pain, avoiding things like pinched nerves, because that's something that makes it really difficult to enjoy time with your children, for instance, if you're struggling to get out of your chair, or if you feel stiff and tired in the morning when you wake up. These are things that are near and dear to my heart, because I think everybody deserves to live a life that is fulfilling. And having a strong body is one of the things that we could do to combat that. And it's also something that helps us to keep ourselves mentally sharp as our IQs begin to decline when we get older. It helps us to stay productive. It helps us to function across other areas of our life. So that's something that hopefully we're going to be able to continue doing in the lives of people like yourselves.
Thank you, Daniel. Hassan, what is your resolution?
As far as fitness go, I don't think I have as such of a big resolution. I mean, I'm already into fitness. I work out 4 to 5 times a day. I play cricket. But the only thing I feel like I really need to do is to gain muscle. Like, that's the only thing I need. Otherwise, I think my body fat is all right. My weight is all right. So yeah, muscles is my target. Grow big muscles.
I can help with that.
Me too.
All right, Shehzad.
I can help you with that too.
Definitely. Yes, your help is needed for him as well. Yes, Shehzad.
Yeah, that's it for today. Just an announcement. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the panelists. Thank you, participants. We have another webinar tomorrow, but that is on internal audit. That is not on fitness. So if anyone is interested to know from a board's perspective, so we have a few members who are already serving or have served in the board audit committees. So they would be talking about the internal audit topic tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pakistan time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all panelists. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Rizwan. Thank you, Rabia Saeed. Thank you, Ahmar Saab. Thank you, Hassan. I enjoyed the session. I thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
I learned a lot. Thank you very much, and have a lovely, lovely new year. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening. Good night.
Allah Hafiz. Bye-bye.
Allah Hafiz.